What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got another R.E.M. offer, and we got a full album reaction to the album Green, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, Ian. Thank you, Ian. Always appreciate you. Now, we already have proper reviews up for Automatic for the People and Murmur for R.E.M. This will be the first full album reaction. I'm a big R.E.M. guy, but I've only ever listened to this album one time, I do believe, and that was a long time ago. I really love Monster. I really love the early IRS stuff. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one. So first off, I want to see what Ian has to say about this, because obviously he enjoys it. He wouldn't have brought it. He says, I'd be very interested to hear your take on the album, as it and Document are a crossover between the IRS years sound and the more produced epic albums of the 90s. It's my most listened to R.E.M. album. Not my favorite, but it was the first CD album I ever listened to. Wow. I actually borrowed it from a local library in Milton Keynes and was disappointed that it didn't have any songs as good as those I'd heard on the radio from Automatic for the People. I didn't give it much of a chance and moved on, but over the years came back again and again, and it's grown on me to be in my top 3 R.E.M. albums. What really made me reevaluate it was learning to play the guitar, and so many of these songs work well when you play acoustic covers. The album is so consistent and is a clear evolution from the Document sound. It doesn't have the towering hits of Out of Time, Automatic, or even Monster, but I think it actually benefits from that and works as an album better. That's a very good point, because a lot of times when you got such gigantic hits on an album, it overshadows everything else around it and kind of diminishes them. So that's a really good point Ian makes. And let's get to my quick facts and research. 6th studio album released in November of 1988. They chose the American release date to coincide with the 1988 presidential election and used its increased profile during the period to criticize Republican candidate George H.W. Bush while praising Democratic candidate Michael Dukakis. With warm critical reaction and the conversion of many new fans, Green ultimately went double platinum in the U.S., reaching number 12, went to 27 in the UK. With the release of Document 87, R.E.M. fulfilled his contract with IRS Records. Frustrated that his records did not see satisfactory overseas distribution, in early 1988, the band told IRS it was leaving the label. Guitarist Peter Buck also explained that his group felt it was being pressured to sell well by IRS, yet felt their distributor, MCA Records, did not consider them a priority. Though other labels offered more money, it's a great story, go read it sometimes, won't go into all of it, but they offered him more money. R.E.M. ultimately signed a deal with Warner Brothers, reportedly between $6 and $12 million, which that's a big gap there, due to the company's assurance of total creative freedom. They began the album process by recording demos in February of '88. Bill Berry, Peter Buck, and Mike Mills recorded the basic tracks in 2 configurations. 1, drums, guitar, and bass, and 2, the percussion, the mandolin, and the accordion. Michael Stipe uses recordings for his vocal arrangements, which is how R.E.M. did almost all of their albums. The other guys go in, lay down all the music first, and then they give it to Stipe, and Stipe writes lyrics. So it's an interesting songwriting process. Everybody does it different. That's how it works for him. In a 1988 interview, Peter Buck described Green as an album that didn't feature any typical R.E.M. songs, describing the band's output as, quote, minor key, mid-tempo, enigmatic, semi-folk, rock, balladish things. The guitarist noted that for Green, we wrote major key rock songs and switched instruments. Singer Michael Stipe has reportedly told his bandmates to not write any more R.E.M. type songs. Bassist Mike Mills argued that Green was an experimental record, resulting in an album that was haphazard, a little scattershot. Green was envisioned as an album where one side would feature electric songs and the other side acoustic material, with the plan failing to come to fruition due to a lack of acoustic songs deemed fit for release. Well, it's harder to write acoustic songs. People don't realize that, but a lot of times it is, because you can't hide things in with melody as well and the instrumentation as well. Although the title of the album is Green, the cover artwork to the LP is orange in color. Now, see, I always wondered about this. The reason for that is staring at the orange image for several seconds and then closing your eyes causes a green negative image to appear. It actually works too, because after I researched this, I tried it. When viewed in this manner, the cover art appears to depict green grass. Really highly acclaimed. NME 9 out of 10. Pitchfork 8.4 out of 10. Q 5 out of 5. Nirvana singer and guitarist, the great Kurt Cobain, listed this in his top 50 albums of all time. NME listed it at 274 on the top 500 albums of all time. As always, all the songs are written by the guys. Just like I said, Stipe writes the lyrics, the other guys write the music itself. So let's jump into this thing. First of all, a reminder, if you're first time joining us, there's a Vimeo link below. The music will not be in this video to get blocked. Click on that. You can listen to the music, watch the entire thing. I'll have the lyrics up, as always. Sometimes that matters for R.E.M., sometimes not quite as much, but let's dive into this thing. And as you see, we're going to kick this off with Pop Song 89. Ian rates this an 8. He went through and rated all the tracks, so I always enjoy that. I found it's the third single, only went to 86 in the US. Stipes described it as one of his, quote, Fruit Loop songs, along with Shiny Happy People and Stan, where he just kind of put some random bubblegummy stuff. He calls it Fruit Loop, bubblegummy stuff out there. I will say this before we start. I never was a big fan of R.E.M. at all until the last couple years, and I started listening to their stuff through this channel and through requests of people, mainly through one of our patron, Brian. He's a big R.E.M. guy. Really got me into him. Absolutely love R.E.M. now. One of my favorite bands of all time. All right, let's jump in to Pop Song 89. Thanks as always, Ian. Pop Song 89, a little takeoff on Hello, I Love You by The Doors. You can hear it at the start just with the music itself and throughout the lyrics. A little takeoff on that, kind of inverting it. And of course, Hello, I Love You. Jim Morrison with that charisma and that confidence. This is the opposite, a very unsure person. Just trying to make conversation, basically. Hello, I saw you, I know you, I knew you. I think I can remember your name. Hello, I'm sorry, I lost myself. I thought you were someone else. I thought you were someone else. Chorus, should we talk about the weather? Hi, hi, hi. Should we talk about the government? Hi, hi, hi. In other words, making casual conversation with someone in an awkward situation, right? Like, oh, we can talk about current affairs, which you don't want to do nowadays. Talk about the weather. And so that's just kind of how it goes. And they end with hi, 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 hi. That's the outro. So Stipe's delivery's nice. I mean, Barry's drumming, it's all nice. And I enjoyed it. It's a catchy little tune. Next up, we have Get Up. Ian gives this one an 8.5, and he says, a stomping song with a great catchy chorus, really good when played on acoustic too. Love the music box sound effect, really works well. Great crescendo ending. I found it's the fourth and final single released. It did not chart. Written by Stipe about Mike Mills. Mills always seemed to sleep-wait during the recording sessions for Green. This was Stipe's call for Mills to get up and work. Little McCartney to Lennon, huh? However, Mills did not find this out until a concert in the late 90s when Stipe introduced a song about being about him. During the bridge, several music boxes are played at once, which is what Ian was referencing. This was the idea of Bill Berry, who had originally envisioned this in a dream. Wow, that's a great story, man. Mills was probably like, I've played this song thousands of times. Wait, what? It's about me? All right, thanks, Mike. What a wonderfully arranged song, right? The production is fantastic. This is the way this song is done. The music boxes are just a great touch, and they really add something sonically. But, you know, the layering of the vocals at times and the call and response, just a fantastic song that's very simple lyrically because it needs to. It doesn't need to be anything complicated. He starts out, sleep delays my life, and he's like, get up, where does time go? Get up, the bridge, sleepy, sleep, sleepy head, wake it up, and then you got these call and responses in there. You've got all your life. Dreams, they complicate my life. Life is rough, I've seen you laying down. So they just goes through that, and at the very end it says, dreams, they complicate my life. This time, no escape, I wake up, get up. I could see how, though, on repeated listens, this song would for sure stick in your head. A great offering. Now we're going to go to You Are Everything. Ian gives this a 9. He says, I don't understand how this really atmospheric and heartfelt song isn't better known. My favorite track on the album, but then I'm a sucker for a sentimental song. All right, I didn't find anything. There's not a lot of research on this. Some R.E.M. albums, there's a ton of research. We did Automatic for the People. I had volumes of research that I had to pare down. But this one, not a lot on this album, which kind of goes with Ian saying that, you know, he's surprised this album isn't known better. All right, let's check it out. Wow, I did not want that song to end, man. What a fantastic song. First off, instrumentally, it's very unique, and unfortunately, what I'm using to read lyrics and look at track listings, they don't, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They don't have everything broke out on every song with musician credits. And you really can't find it anywhere. On this song, from what I could find, you got Buck playing the mandolin. So Bill Berry comes out from the drums because there's no percussion on this and plays the bass. And then Mills is either playing an accordion or harmonium. I think it's an accordion. That's what it sounds like to me. I saw an article that says harmonium, but I don't think so. I think it's the accordion. But regardless, this is a fantastic song. Michael just sounds great. Like, it has such a unique sound to it. Sometimes I feel like I can't even say the light little. They do such a good job with the call and response and the layering of vocals. That's one of the unique things about R.E.M. that just sounds so fantastic. I'm very scared for this world. I'm very scared for me. Eviscerate your memory. Here's a scene. You're in the backseat laying down. And then they go, say the light. The windows wrap around to the sound of the traveling engine. And then the chorus, all you hear is time stand still and travel. and feel such peace and absolute, the stillness still. It doesn't end, but slowly drifts into sleep. The stars are the greatest thing you've ever seen, and they're there for you alone. You are the everything, and I will not sing that out for you. But 5 verses, it's only 3.5 minutes long, man. I wish this thing was like 6 minutes long, but what a fantastic offering. It's going to be hard to beat from my favorite song. I know this next tune isn't going to beat it. We Got Stand. I actually know this tune. I only know 2 songs on here. Ian gives it an 8. He says a proper loud pop song. Not the most profound lyrics, but good fun. Second single, went to 6 in the US and topped both the mainstream rock charts and modern rock charts. 48 in the UK, 16 in Canada. Was used as the theme song for the 1990 to 92 Fox sitcom Get a Life starring Chris Elliott. It was parodied by Weird Al as the song Spam on the album UHF, the original motion picture soundtrack. Michael Stipe said of the song's origin that he and the other band members were discussing the Banana Splits, the Archies, the Monkees, and similar 1960s pop groups. Michael said, they threw these super bubblegummy songs at me, and I said, I'll raise you and see you one. And I wrote the most inane lyrics that I could possibly write. Now, it was a very intentional thing to do that. I really like most of those songs, in fact. Guitarist Peter Buck described Stand as without a doubt the stupidest song we've ever written. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though, comparing the song to Louie Louie by the Kingsmen in terms of stupid lyrical content. Man, you can have stupid lyrics if you got a really catchy song. And this is definitely a really catchy song. Stand. So I'm not going to break down the lyrics for you because they're pretty obvious. Now, this song does several things that are really brilliant for a song that's written in this way in particular. Just like Stipe said, man, he wrote it to be this catchy song that's nonsensical. They start the song off with the chorus, which the chorus is the most catchy part and the best part of the song. It's really brilliant there. And songs like this, the percussion, the drumming is so important. Barry is an MVP on this one because it drives the catchiness of these songs. So he does a fantastic job. And of course, Mills and Buck are great on it as well. But those are kind of the things, I'm going to tell you, when I was 16, 17 years old when this song came out, I hated this song. I loathed this song. It just put into my whole R.E.M. narrative how I couldn't stand him. I've done such a switch on that now. Ian gave it an 8. I can't go with my man Ian giving this song an 8, but I do like it now for what it is. I do respect it for what it is, understanding how they wrote it. It's crazy. This is only their second top 10 hit. The One I Love in the previous year in 1987 went in the top 10, but this is only their second top 10 hit. You think about all the great music that they put out before this, but they weren't commercially big time because they're with IRS, with an independent label, and weren't being pushed, which is part of the reason why they're making this album on a new label. But just a little food for thought there. This is their second top 10 hit. It's crazy to me. Now we go to World Leader Pretend. We're definitely going to switch gears here, I have a feeling, just by looking at the song title. Ian gives us a 9. He says, my second favorite track on the album with some interesting lyrics. I found in a 2008 Rolling Stone interview, Stipe revealed that this song is an homage to the great Leonard Cohen. We got several Leonard stuff up on the channel. And his songs of inner triumph, like Old Revolution and There Is a War. For me, the big moment is World Leader Pretend. It's a tribute to Leonard Cohen using military terms to describe a battle within. I was so proud of the lyrics, Stipe says, and my vocal take that I refused to sing it a second time. I did it once. That was it. Wow. World Leader Pretend. You come off of Stand to this, which this has the most substantial lyrics on this album so far. Just fantastically powerful song. You had the pedal steel guitar on there. You had a cello on there. And it just all where you could hear angst. I don't want to say desperation, but angst in Michael's vocal delivery too. He says, I sit at my table and wage war on myself. This is a battle of depression that so many of us fight. It seems like it's all for nothing. I know the barricades and I know the mortar and the wall breaks. I recognize the weapons. I've used them well. The chorus, this is my mistake. Let me make it good. I raise the wall and I'll be the one to knock it down. So oftentimes in depression, we're suffering with those sorts of things. We build these walls around ourselves, right, to isolate ourselves, and it just makes it worse. So he knows he's built the wall. He's got to be the one to break it down. And then verse 2, I have a rich understanding of my finest defenses. I proclaim that claims are left unstated. I demand a rematch. I decree a stalemate. I divine my deeper motives. I recognize the weapons. I practice them well. I've fitted them myself. We can rationalize it. I got a reason to feel this way, and I should feel this way. And he understands all those things, and he's kind of defending them to a certain extent. And then the chorus in this one, it's amazing what devices you can sympathize. And then that great backing call and response, empathize. This is my mistake. Let me make it good. I raise the wall. I'll be the one to knock it down. But then the bridge, reach out for me and hold me tight. So he's acknowledging we need others to hold us and help us. Hold that memory. Let my machine talk to me. Let my machine talk to me. And then he gets into the verse 3 where we get the title of the song. This is my world and I'm the world leader. Pretend this is my life and this is my time. I've been given the freedom to do as I see fit. It's time I raise the walls that I've constructed. Outro, you fill in the mortar, you fill in the harmony, you fill in the mortar, I raise the wall, and I'm the only one. I will be the one to knock it down. So that's how it finishes. I read you almost all the lyrics to this song, which if you watch my other R.E.M reviews, I hardly ever do. I'm a big lyrics guy, yet for R.E.M it's not important to me because I just love their music so much. But this song, the lyrics are fantastic. You needed to hear them. Now we're on to the final track of side 1, which they called the air side. We got The Wrong Child. Ian only gives us a 6.5. He says the song doesn't seem to go anywhere for me, but it's salvaged by the It's Okay ending. So let's check this out. The Wrong Child, kind of a tale of two songs for me. The first 30 seconds or so, I'm like, I'm with Ian here, man. I'm not feeling this song. But as it went on, it became more and more interesting to me. And as I break down the lyrics, I think it's about a kid who has something wrong with him, something really wrong with him, a health condition, can't go outside. The instrumentation, once again, is very interesting. I can look at the musicianship for the album credits, so I can kind of figure some things out. I see that Barry played bass on this as well because there is no drumming, again, no percussion. So I think we got Buck over there maybe on the mandolin, and then Mills is playing the keyboard. So you got a sonic experience that is quite interesting. You got some layering to the lyrics at the start that were actually distracting for me instead of enhancing the song as they do on many of them. But as the song went on, I think I really like it. I don't know, I'm going to have to listen to this song several times, but it just starts out, I've watched the children come and go, a late, long march into spring. I sit and watch those children jump in the tall grass, leap the sprinkler, all these things, bicycle, clothespin spokes. I will try to sing a happy song. I'll try and make a happy game to play. Come play with me, I whispered to my newfound friend. Tell me what it's like to go outside. I've never been. I've never been, and I never will. In the chorus, and I'm not supposed to be like this. I'm not supposed to be like this, but it's okay. Hey, those kids are looking at me. I told my friend myself. Those kids are looking at me. They're laughing and they're running over here. The bridge, what can I do? What can I do? What should I do? What do I say? What can I say? I'm not supposed to be like this. Let's try to find a happy game to play. I'm not supposed to be like this, but it's okay. Okay, which Ian referenced the ending that salvaged it for him. So I think that's what this song's about. I couldn't find anything where they had talked about it. And a lot of times on Michael's lyrics, you just kind of got to guesstimate. But I don't know, man. I think I actually like it. After at first I thought I couldn't stand it. So we will see on repeated listens for me. But that's my take there. Now we're going to start off side 2, which is called The Metal Side, with the other song on this album I knew besides Stan, Orange Crush. I only heard it once because we did a top 10 and this was on it. Ian gives us an 8. Another great track. Goes a bit too waily for me, but I do like the soundscape with the chopper sounds and shouting. So here's what I found on this song. It was not commercially released in the US despite reaching #1 as a promotional single on both the mainstream and modern rock tracks, where at the time it had the record for the longest stay at #1 with 8 weeks, beating out U2. Went to 28 in the UK, making it the band's then highest charting hit there, where they promoted the song by making their debut performance on the iconic Top of the Pops. The song's title refers to the chemical Agent Orange manufactured by Monsanto and Dow Chemical for the U.S. Defense Department and used in the Vietnam War. Stipe opened the song during the Green World Tour by singing the U.S. Army recruiting slogan, "Be all you can be in the Army." Stipe's father served in the Vietnam War. He explained the song is about a young man from America who played football, leaving to go to war in Vietnam. The rapid-fire drums that open the song mimic the noise of the machine gun. So this is definitely a powerful song, and I really wanted you to know what it was about before we started because it lends to the song as you listen to it. Wow, that song, it's so well produced and arranged, right? It just has so much going on. Barry's drumming is fantastic, but the writing on this one, once again, it's interesting because it's not anywhere close to being a traditional song and just the way it's constructed, right? It starts out with verse because they want to pull you into this environment. Follow me, don't follow me. I've got my spine, I've got my orange crush. Collar me, don't collar me. I've got my spine, I've got my orange crush. So I think he's saying, I've got my spine, I feel good because I've got my Agent Orange. I'm about to drop on my enemy. And then I like, we are agents of the free. I've had my fun and now it's time to serve your conscience overseas. And then we get the call and response, the over me, not over me, coming in fast, over me. So that verse in itself, right? We are agents of the free, because, I live in the United States, so I can talk about this. He's talking about the Vietnam War and the United States' intervention in that. We've sold this forever. We just got out of a war. We sold this on. The politicians sell that we're fighting for freedom in this foreign land, and that we're fighting to stop the spread of oppressive governments. But you know what? It never works. It never has. It never has. I used to be a history teacher. The only wars that America's ever won is the Revolutionary War and World War II. That's it. We're actually defending ourselves or fighting something for our country. We've never intervened in another conflict on a long-term basis where it worked out, because people are going to govern themselves. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to help people, but I'm just saying he's saying it there. It's like they sold these boys and drafted these boys. These young boys have had my time. Now it's time to serve your conscience overseas. And we've lost so many lives, man. All right, end of tangent. Sorry, guys, but man, it's just tragic. High on the roof, the chorus. High on the roof, thin the blood. Another one came on the waves tonight. Coming in, you're home. So in Vietnam, when you got hurt, you called the helicopter and you hoped that they came in and rescued you before the enemy got to you. And then we get this interlude where you can barely hear it. Michael actually sings it through a megaphone, right? You can barely hear it. You got this atmosphere. He's basically just bragging on how much he likes this place that he's in. Then we get back to the verse again that we started with, and then the chorus. It's a little expanded chorus. Coming in, you're home, high on the roof, then the blood. Another one came on the waves tonight. Coming in, you're home. So I guess the helicopter got him, but that is an extremely powerful song. Now we've got Turn You Inside Out. Ian gives it a 7. I found it features percussion from former Sugar Hill Records house drummer Keith LeBlanc. Despite only being released as a single promotionally, it did well on the Billboard Alternative Songs and Mainstream Rock charts, placing top 10 positions on both charts. Basically, in the late 80s and early 90s, R.E.M. owned those charts whenever they released anything. Turn You Inside Out, the first song on this album that has not really hit for me, but it may on repeated listenings. Instrumentation is always a spot on. Lyrics are real vague. I mean, some people say it's about a corporation under investigation for wrongdoing, specifically Exxon Mobil, probably the Valdez crash. But I don't know. I mean, probably, I guess, I don't know. But it has 3 different choruses and they just repeat. So this seems like one of them, knowing how R.E.M. writes, where the music is really good and Michael just went in and went, which is what he did on Murmur, which I think is their best album. So, I mean, I'm not against that process, but it was all right for me. Now we'll move on to Hairshirt. Ian gives it a 9. He says, probably my favorite song on the album. Now, he'd already given a 9 to You Are Everything and said that was his favorite song, but I get, because you go through, like, wait a minute, maybe this one is. I had to do a little research. What is a hair shirt? They were scratchy shirts worn by religiously penitent people who were trying to repent. They were a form of what they call self-flagellation, where you believe if you are suffering, it brings you closer to God. So they would wear these hair shirts. I don't know that that's what this song's about, but I'm like, what in the world is a hair shirt? I never heard that term before. Hair shirt. Another one of those songs that's interesting sonically, no drumming. This is the third song and last song that Barry moves over to play the bass. So we got Buck on that mandolin. Mills is on those keyboards. Michael's most clear and passionate vocal performance. The instrumentation is really dialed back and kind of buried in the mix, and his vocals are brought to the front of the mix. So I thought that really added power to the song. Some people think this is literally about a dog. I don't think it's about a dog. I think he's using it just as a reference. I'm not the type of dog that could keep you waiting for no good reason. And then he just talks about all these things. But he says, I could walk into this room and the waves of conversation are enough to knock you down in the undertow. So alone in my life. Feed me banks of light and hang your hair shirt on the lowest rung. It's a beautiful life, and I can hang my hair shirt away up high in the attic of the wrong dog's life chest, or bury it at sea. All my life I've searched for this. Here I am in your life. It's beautiful life, my life. It's beautiful life, your life. So great messages. So he is using that hair shirt as like, I'm not going to be in pain anymore, right? I'm going to hang it up and I'm going to embrace life. Bring me that light. So a really good song. I can see why Ian holds it in such high regard. We only got 2 songs left. Now we go to I Remember California. Ian gives it a 7.5. Says it's very different on sound for this album. It goes back to kind of the IRS sound. I actually find this very atmospheric and quite dark sounding track. All right, we only got 2 tracks left. I Remember California. I think Ian was spot on calling this a very early IRS sounding, right? Especially with Buck's guitar and Barry's drumming. It just had that atmosphere. Mills is always good on bass. He always kind of gets forgotten on this because I think with R.E.M. their drumming and their guitar work is so fantastic. But I don't know really what it's about. I mean, it's a laundry list of California stuff. I remember Redwood Trees, Bumper Cars, Wolverines, the Oceans, Trident, Submarines, and all these different things, Motor Boys and Girls with Hands, Nearly Was and Almost Rans. I remember this. And history is made to seem unfair. And then the chorus, low ebb, high tide, the lowest ebb and highest tide. A symbol wave, I must confide. I guess we took us for a ride. I guess it's just a gesture. So I don't really know what he's trying to get to here. Like there's some sort of falsehood maybe being taught to us, or his remembrance of California. Oh, when he looks back on it, seems not genuine. I don't know. I mean, it really lines up with all of the IRS stuff, right? The sound and also the lyrics aren't exactly coherent. He might have been going somewhere, but with Michael, sometimes he wasn't going anywhere. We're to the final track, Untitled. That's the name of it. Ian rates this one an 8. Buck is going to jump over and play the drums on this track with their little moving around on some songs reminiscent of a great group from yesteryear, The Band. Let's check this out. Untitled. A really good way to end this album for a few reasons. Number one, Buck's drumming was fantastic. And I guess he said, I'm going to jump on the sticks. I'm going to really drive this song because it drives the whole thing. Some interesting keyboard stuff with Mills in here. And Stipe just sounds great, right? It had that call and response. It had that layering and just that almost dreamy atmosphere. It was just a really good way to sum up kind of the sounds of the album. Lyrically, a little abstract. I think it's just about a man and a woman who are in love and they're spending time apart and they're going to keep each other strong. And this song's here to keep you strong. The light is here to keep you warm. But it's just the atmosphere. I didn't want this song to end. It's only a little bit over 3 minutes, and I just kept thinking, like, the song just needs to go on. So I really did enjoy that one. Ian's final thoughts on it are, he said, on listening again, I really can't decide if Hairshirt or You Are Everything or World Leader Pretend is my favorite track on the album. All 3 very good songs. Overall, he says this album has grown on me. No skip tracks. And I think an 8.5 for me. So that's what Ian says. He's still in my ending here because I give my 3 favorite songs and my overall grades. But before I give you those 3 favorite songs, a couple takeaways. I don't hate Stan like I once did. That's a takeaway from me. I have no idea what I think of The Wrong Child still. I'm going to go back and listen to that song like 3 times in a row after this review to try to kind of figure out what I think. My favorites have got to be You Are the Everything. What a fantastic song. That's going to be my standout. World Leader Pretend is great. Orange Crush, wonderful. And the last track, Untitled. So I'm going to go with a few more than my 3. The only song that might be a skip for me is Turn You Inside Out, but maybe not. Overall grade on this album, I'm going to be right about where Ian is. I'm going to be at an 8.25. I think the points that Ian made at the beginning, besides You Are the Everything, I don't know how many of these songs I would put on an R.E.M. playlist on first listen, right? But that's not a bad thing. It's kind of a whole album listen. And because there's not standout tracks that you just go, oh, wow, I'm going to listen to that on repeat, I think it does make the album stand up better because no song overshadows another one to a great extent. So that's a wonderful point you made, Ian, and something I never really thought about, but it definitely works well with this album. So I'm at an 8.25. Fantastic offering from R.E.M, man. If you haven't ever listened to a lot of their stuff, you really got to dive in and listen. Repeated listenings really do reward you with R.E.M. So good. And when you look at the musicianship credits, I mean, you got Barry not only playing the drums, but also playing bass on 3 songs. You got Buck playing guitar, mandolin, and then the drums on that last track, Untitled. Mills is on the bass, keyboards, and accordion. I mean, these guys are true musicians, so you just got to really appreciate them. R.E.M. an American treasure. So thank you, Ian, for bringing this to us. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you'd like to support us in any way, like Ian does, check out the Patreon link below or the one that's about to hit on the end screen. The patrons make this possible. We put out content every single day. We so appreciate them. I so appreciate you for watching. Until next time, I will see you.